It was cold, wet and windy here in the UK, so what better way to escape than heading to a small island in the middle of the Atlantic with double-digit temperatures and breathtaking scenery. Welcome to Madeira. The airport is renowned for being a tough one for pilots to land because of its short runway directly nestled between high mountains and the ocean, coupled with often windy conditions. The unique runway is built on stilts over the cliff. This is the runway here, stretches all the way back there. I've just walked along the sort of busy A road. Got the Beach Boys soundtrack stuck in my head with the sunny weather and blue seas. That there is a town of Machico, which I'm heading into, and then I go up and around there, I think. I ascended out of the town, heading upwards into the mountains. This is a steep old hill here. Out of the town now. Had to climb up a very steep hill up there. I always find the first few hours of these trips are some of the toughest. Just getting your legs back into gear and used to the weight. But look at that view. These are the levadas, which I'll be seeing a lot over the next few days. These are all across the islands. They're channels used to transport water for agriculture and probably water supply as well. My bag seemed to have developed a squeaky noise that I couldn't quite figure out how to stop. Hello, little kitty. Or should I say, hola. Everything's so lush and green. The island's alive. Plants and animals, everything. It's lovely. Wow. I've just come in up the hills and this is the view I get. Now following the coastal path to Porto de Cruz, which is the final destination tonight. This coastal path is wonderful. Look at that, beautiful sea there. Keeping an eye out if there's any dolphins or whales in the sea there. None found yet. Wow, isn't that spectacular? Oh, there's a lovely breeze cooling me down here. That there in the distance is Porto de Cruz, where I'm staying tonight. So I just follow this path around the cliffs and down into the village. Wow, look at that. It goes all the way down the cliffs there. You can just see it at the bottom. They make good use of the land here. Love the steep roads here. Jeez, really steep. Don't think I'd get my car up here. This rock here is volcanic conglomerate. So all these bits of rocks were spewed from volcanoes and then it's a sort of ash in between that combines them. You can see here a nice piece of basalt and it's got onion skin weathering. You can see these rings round it there. As I approached the town of Porto de Cruz, I watched two paragliders drift effortlessly over the cliffs and land on the beach. It was a successful first day, covering 10 miles in a short afternoon. I arrived into the peaceful town of Porto de Cruz just as the sun was setting. Day 2, let's go. Morning guys, just climbing out of Porto de Cruz. Another steep hill to get out of the village. Look at how lush, green everything is. So much growing here. There's bananas just there. These paths through the little villages are great. There's houses to the side and these nice concreted paths. The path goes somewhere around there, but I cannot see where it goes. Oh, it does not disappoint. Nice steep hill to get up there. Now I think I go back down to get into that village or town. It looks a pretty mega go-karting course there. I think that right up there is where I'm heading. I think there's a sort of a telescope or some astronomy type thing. It's a long way to climb up there. That there's some nice columnar basalt. Very cool to see. I've got this little stream to cross. I am going to try and keep my feet nice and dry because I don't think they'll get wet any other time today. So let's see how I get on. 1 foot wet. I had to sacrifice one to get along that bit there. It just wasn't quite jumpable. Bit of an obstacle here. Gonna have to turn my camera off. Need 2 hands. This bit's pretty tough up here. It's steep and a bit overgrown. Doesn't look like many people have come up here. Oh. First stop of the day, having some almonds here. It's nice to finally get into the mountains here. And we're only going up, up, up today. We are on the first official trail. We are here and heading to there. This is very pleasant compared to the terrain earlier today. We've got this really pleasant section here, and then in about a mile or two we then get to the climb, and it's climbing for the rest of the day up to the highest point in Madeira, Pico Ruivo, at about 1,800 metres, so that should be exciting. I arrived into the Queimadeiras Forest Park, which was brimming with tourists. I treated myself to a coffee before heading on my way. This is exciting, walking up the mountain in the forest. There's currently no views, but I'm excited for when it opens out. There should be some amazing views up there. Look at the views here. Beautiful. I stumbled upon this unique rock formation that looked like a hand in the rock. This is really cool. You can see the sea down there, but you can also see the layer of clouds extending out into the sea. And we're above them. You can see some of the damage that the wildfires had earlier on in the season. All that hill has kind of slipped a little bit with all the burnt trees. This reminds me of the Richmond Ranges in New Zealand a little bit. Similar terrain. Here I was, standing on the highest point of Madeira, Pico Ruivo, the tallest peak in the Atlantic for hundreds of miles. Above me, the sun blazed in full force, and all around, a spectacular cloud inversion stretched to the horizon. It felt like standing on an island in the sky. At 1,862 metres, the chaffinches had clearly figured out that tourists meant snacks. I pitched my tent 100 metres below the summit, perfectly placed for the sunset that was to follow. It did not disappoint. The sky burnt with rich shades of orange, casting a warm glow over the rolling sea of clouds below. As the sun dipped towards the horizon, the entire landscape was bathed in a golden light. Safe to say, this was one of the most breathtaking sunsets I had ever witnessed. If you've enjoyed watching these videos, please consider subscribing to the channel. It really helps get the videos out to a wider audience. Enjoy the rest of this episode. Morning guys, this is day 3. As you can see, the sun is just coming up now. It's amazing views from up here. So glad I stayed up here. I'm going to be heading back down to the coast today, so a lot of descent for me. Look at that, walking in the clouds. So cool. Listen to that. Absolute silence. With the wildfires, I'm having to do a bit of a detour on the original route. So I'm having to head back down to the coast, and to be honest, I'm not sure exactly what my plan is today. I'll probably need to get a bus round part way. Just come out onto a clearing and it's beautiful, sunny, blue skies. I don't think you can see much on the camera. Walking through the forests, I passed a lot of narrow canyons. They looked more man-made than natural. Nice views of the mountains up there. I've come from all the way up there. This is a detour here I'm taking. It's a road that winds around this valley, goes down here and all the way along there. There's no cars, so it's pretty nice. I'll be getting up into the hills in a little bit. Another change of plan for me. I was originally going to get the 4 PM bus, but when I've looked, it looks like it's a school bus only, so can't get that one. So the one before that is about 2:30, so I'm not going up into the mountains and detouring round because I won't have time. So heading straight towards there, be along roads and then hopefully a little bit along the cliff, which should be really nice. Look at this mountain goat. Looks like it's got almost like a headdress. It doesn't look real. It should be out roaming these mountains, not tied around here. It's a lemon tree there. These cliffs here look sketchy, overhanging and a bit shaly and crumbly. You can just about see in the distance the other island, Porto Santo, another Portuguese island, just out there in the distance. These are the only 2 things here in the Atlantic for hundreds of miles. Back to the coast on this nice footpath. Bit jungly. Today wasn't what I originally had planned. I should have been up in the mountains along the ridge, but this is pretty good too. Nice sea views, winding through lovely little villages. So all in all, positive. Look at how steep these cliffs are. It's impressive. There's a road down there. I'm hoping this trail doesn't stop abruptly, because it would be a massive detour back up that mountain. It's quite close to the edge here. Jeez, these are pretty steep cliffs and a little narrow edge along it. I better be careful. That was pretty scary. Sketchy going down there and all the way down here in this ravine. You can't even see the path up here. Oh, glad I've done that now. Look how cool this succulent is. They're like the ones I've got at home, just growing on the sides of the cliff. I'll be glad of a rest when I get to the bus stop. I've been racing against the time to make sure I try and catch it. I think I will. I think I'll have about 20 minutes spare, but still pushing. I think this is one of the inlets or vents that goes towards the main road tunnel. I guess for maintenance and repairs and stuff. After keeping up a fast pace all day, I made it with half an hour to spare before catching the bus to Salvincent. I've arrived into Salvincent by the bus and I'm starving. Need to go find some food. I'm hoping for some fresh tuna steak and chips maybe. Morning guys, this is day 4. Just heading out of Salvincent, climbing up into the mountains. The sun's not quite come out in here because the mountains are just absolutely massive on either side. Feels quite a humid day. It'd be nice to get up in the mountains. There'll be a bit of a breeze up there, but that's where I stayed last night. Nice little town. And finally had my fresh tuna steak, which was delicious. Up we go. I think we're heading towards that hill with the wind turbines on. I'm just hiking up a forestry road up the mountain now, heading up towards Ruivo de Paul. Don't think I'm going to go right up to the summit. I'm going to go past because today's quite a long day, so don't need any more elevation than that. The elevation gain I'd done this morning, over 1,000 metres, was well worth it for the views across the valley. Wow, that is a beautiful view there. Must have dropped below 0 overnight here. The water's a bit frozen. I've come from the coast today and I'm now up at 1,500 metres. I'm higher than the clouds on the other side of the valley. We're now on a sort of plateau and the landscape looks so much different. Almost could be the UK with the gorse and sort of the heather in the background. There's a camp spot here and there's big fire pits there, which is pretty cool. A few nice seats, so I'm gonna have some lunch here. This would be a cool place to stay though. I've got a while in the day to get going though, and a place to stay. Just what I needed. Water. Malt loaf is great for when you're hiking, give you loads of energy. And I just eat it like that. Very hard to navigate through. It's like brambles and gorse, and the path just stops. And I've got my maps out looking, and it's trying to take me through a gorse field. So I might have to retreat and take a slightly longer way back. I had to retreat, couldn't find a way through. It's now going on the longer but easier path. I now join the famous PR13, Verada de Fanal, one of the official trails in Madeira. This area with all the laurel forests is known for being super misty and foggy a lot of the time. I think it's because it's almost like it is a subtropical rainforest. This habitat here, the laurel forest, has been around for 20 million years, which is pretty incredible. And it's still here, we can still see it. The combination of mist, moss and ancient forests gave a unique and mysterious feel to the place. That's where I'm heading. Fanal, that way. It is a misty one up here. Got 10 minutes to go to the campsite. It's a designated wild camping spot. So it's no real facilities, water there, but flat ground and cool environment around here. Morning guys, this is day 5. This is where I camped today. Let me show you. Lovely tranquil spot. There were some cows down there last night, so I was hoping they didn't come up here and bother me, which thankfully they didn't. I thought I was going to be having to shoo them off. I've found the cows here, chilling by the picnic benches. Everything's feeling a little bit stiff this morning, especially my calves. But as soon as you start walking, it kind of makes them feel a bit better. I passed the dried up volcanic crater lake of Lagoa de Fanal. These roads would be amazing for cycling. They're so smooth. Not like UK roads. I love these traditional made ladders. They're so cool. So simple yet cool. Look at those massive palm trees. I think those are eucalyptus trees, I think. They look like it from the bark. Very jungly. Do eucalyptus have these button-like fruits on them? Anyone post in the comments if you know? Not quite sure. This is one that's fallen down. Look at that statue up there of the woman waving, and the shadows painted on the wall as well. I've got to go all the way down there and then up there. The Madeirans know how to build a tunnel. There's tons of them on the island. This little building is carved out of the rock. Look at the view it's got. It is very humid climbing up this hill. There's no breeze from the sea. There's so many lizards along here, you can hear them scuttling about as you're walking. They're cute little things. That is the town there of Porto Monzique. I didn't expect it to be quite as big. That's where I'm heading down, and that's where I finish. Nearly done. They build these roads as steep as they possibly can. I arrived into the town, and after an amazing steak sandwich, I headed straight for the natural lava pools. As I gazed out to sea, I couldn't help but reflect on the brilliant 5-day hike I'd just completed across the stunning island of Madeira.